U.S. national coach Jurgen Klinsmann has set out some ambitious goals for the future of the Stars and Stripes. After their achievements at the World Cup in Brazil, where the U.S. made it to the round of 16, Klinsmann is eyeing one of the final four spots at Russia 2018.
We set the goal very high because we want to explain to the players, what it really takes to get to a semifinal. That if you already come out of a group of death and you leave Portugal and Ghana behind, you almost actually tied in Germany in that game and you almost beat Belgium, then those are all top nations, So they understand that they actually can beat big nations if everything goes well on that day. So you now need to educate the players, okay, what does it take now after a round of 16 game to win a quarterfinal and to get into a semifinal? So it needs a lot of consistency. It needs that you can play on a physical and mental level with the big nations in the world. So now the path over the next 3.5 years is to explain constantly to all our talents that coming through the different teams and especially the senior team that anything is possible. You can actually do that, but you have to learn to become a tournament team. If we learn what it takes to go further in a tournament, you become stronger and stronger every time you play. So your curve goes upwards and not like, okay, we're running out of gas after the group stage, then this is a huge learning curve that happens technically, tactically, but especially mentally.
The coach knows what he's talking about. With 108 appearances for Germany, the former striker is the sixth most capped player for the reigning world champions. At his first international tournament, in 1988, he won a bronze medal at the Summer Olympics in Seoul. But his personal highlight came just 2 years later at the World Cup in Italy. The former forward contributed 3 goals in 7 matches and celebrated a third World Cup win for his home country. Klinsmann knows what it takes to become a champion, and after he won his first title as coach at the CONCACAF Gold Cup in 2013, he hasn't stopped working meticulously on the playing style of his team.
You need to start the transition from a kind of reactive style into a more eye-to-eye, proactive style, because that's what the best nations in the world are doing. So, in order to progress with your team or with your overall philosophy, you look at the best teams in the world and you want to get there closer to them. So for the American situation basically means, okay, we're not sitting back anymore, we also try to play with them. The mental kind of process will take years, but we're in the middle of it, and it's exciting times for us.
Klinsmann brings the experience of 3 World Cup appearances, as well as a number of successful years as a player with clubs in Italy, France, England, and Germany. He ended his active career in 1998 to concentrate on his family in his adopted home of California. But 6 years later, the former goal poacher returned to the football stage. As Germany's national coach, Klinsmann revamped the management of the team and created a youth program to breathe life back into a then-aging squad. The first highlights in his coaching career came in 2006, when he led Die Mannschaft into the World Cup semifinals in front of an ecstatic home crowd. Only future champions Italy were able to put an end to the host's dream. After a short stint with German record champions Bayern Munich, Klinsmann has now spent almost 4 years at the helm of the USA. And since the strong performance of the Stars and Stripes in the 2014 World Cup, the country has experienced a true football boom.
The locomotive of that process in our country is the national team, because everybody gets together and says it's the US team. It means emotionally a lot to all Americans. And that's what we're building on. The league is building on basically what happens with the national team, and they're building on with the boom that comes through youth development. We have millions of children playing the game. We are not there to compete with American football, baseball, basketball, or ice hockey. We are there to develop our own game. Our own niche maybe in a certain way, but that niche is growing. It's growing very, very fast, and I think people in Europe and all over the world realize that soccer is coming along in the United States. It's getting really strong.
With the next CONCACAF Gold Cup in July, Klinsmann and his players now must prepare to defend their title. The USA will try to qualify for the Confederations Cup in 2017, and the Southern California resident is optimistic.
The more competition American players will get, in the CONCACAF region, on national team level, on club level, the better they will get, and the more they have to be consistent in that, and so I think it's just really a question of time, until you see the players getting also better in those areas where we think, we need to improve a lot, we need to catch up with the best in the world. But as I said, the positive things is they are good listeners, they want to improve, they are hungry, and the game is on the rise.